Hello and welcome to another episode of Chestnut Checkers. My name is Keith Riddle here as always with Jordan Tampion, my co-host. And today our guest is Doyle Wheeler. Doyle.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome,
Yeah.
Doyle.
Thank you.
And we've already been chatting about AI and all sorts of cool stuff. And then we're like, we should probably just start the
Start
podcast.
recording this.
But Doyle, just to start us off, man, give us a little bit of background.
Oh, man.
Spokane native. I always ask that question first.
Definitely. Yeah.
Definitely.
I was
Nice.
born in Alaska. My parents moved here when I was 9 months old. So I consider myself raised in Spokane, but literally I was born in Spokane. I mean, I don't remember anything other than Spokane.
Yeah, I feel like 9 months is pretty close.
That's pretty, yeah. You're going to round down on that one.
If you don't remember being anywhere else, you're
Yeah.
kind of a native, you know?
Yeah, so I'm Spokane native. Whatever.
Nice.
I'm not Alaska native. I don't get the pay out from that. But
It's close. Got to be over a year.
How long? I was gonna say, how long do you have to live there to get that?
I think it's a couple
citizen?
years.
Is it? I don't
And then it's
know.
a certain age.
you have to be born in Alaska, and then I'm going to quit talking because it'll just create controversy. Because I really don't know what I'm talking about.
That's a good one. Just throw it
Well,
out.
I think
I
there's
am
different
Spokane native.
levels,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, nice. And what would you say your primary business is? Because you have a lot of them.
Yeah. Well, I actually have. So I was thinking about that. People keep asking me how I keep it all in check. But honestly, I have two businesses and a lot of trade names.
Okay.
So I have Kinetic Media Incorporated, which is our marketing side, marketing company, and a few little projects going on in there. And then First Avenue Partners is where we have our coffee shop and nostalgia food, things like that, building out little cafe experiences and stuff. So
Nice.
yeah.
And that's, I think that's originally how I first heard your name was from First Avenue Coffee, but it's
Nice.
good coffee down there.
Great,
Thank you.
Great spot.
I like that
Yeah.
place a lot.
Yeah, it's a fun story how that all happened. But yeah.
Well, tell us.
All right.
what's the fun?
cliffhanger.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's a great story. We should talk about it sometime.
How's that for some
If we only had
suspense building?
a podcast.
Maybe we'll
or
do a
something.
podcast and share it.
So the two businesses really intertwine. If there was a way to take a C corp and combine them, like, let me know how that works because I'd love to know. I did get in the pigeonhole of C corps, which was great when there's partnerships and things like that. Now I don't hate it, but the flexibility's all gone. You're stuck. So I now have two C corps, but they actually are the same. They work together in tandem just by nature. So I think before telling any story about business, this is literally my second career, if you will. My heart is still in automotive. I was an auto collision tech for about 18 years. I got in a nasty injury, turned into a nasty claim, had nasty outcomes. Our family lost everything. The state was spinning stories that didn't make any sense. The attorneys were telling the stories that are the truth, hard evidence. And so out of all that, we ended up losing our home. We lost our everything except the clothes on our back.
Oh,
And-
geez. So this is like, this story goes way back. So you are an auto body.
Yeah, I was specifically as collision repair, auto body. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And tell me a little bit about that story. When did you start doing that?
Junior high.
Oh, okay.
So I was into model cars. Well, but my dad was extremely industrious. Like he was a creative guy. He's still alive. He's still with us, but I don't mean to sound like it's a past tense thing, but he's a really creative person. He knew how to just take nothing and make something. And so I've got that built into my soul. Like it's my DNA. And I was just fascinated with model cars, Legos when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where my brain goes when I think of things is taking, broken things and building them back like they were never broken before. I love that. And so when I was trying to pencil out what my career would look like in junior high, they had this career fair. And at the time, it's called New Tech Skills Center. But back then it was just Skills Center. And so they had all the teachers there and there's, they were showing off their programs. And I saw this auto body program. I've never heard a thing about it before, And so I remember telling my mom when I was in 7th grade, that's what I want to do. And I asked if I could start now. Like I was ready to go. I had my fingers dirty. I was building things in my dad's shop.
Right.
I was just, having fun with it. And so fast forward to my sophomore year, it was, counselors back then. So I'm a 90s kid. So this would have been in 92, 91. It's time to think about my junior year of school and what was going to happen. Anyway, I pushed hard to get into Skill Center. Yeah. And at the school I was going to at Ferris, they were pushing hard to get people into all the colleges. There must have been something.
Yeah, there was like a weird dichotomy. Yeah.
Yeah. It was really weird. I hated school so much. I mean, I did anything I could to do something with my hands that wasn't a pencil or a pen and listening to teachers. Like it just wasn't my jam. And so as much discouragement as they threw at me, I was one of the only people at Ferris that got to go to Skill Center. And I ended up in the auto body program, met an old school dude, and he taught us how to pick and file and use lead on old Model A's that he was rebuilding. Oh, wow. So fascinating. I didn't even know you could do this kind of stuff. I had no idea, but it was me. And it was the first time I ever got A's in school. And so in that process, there was this day he had a industry professional come in, which ended up being my future boss. Yeah. His name is Craig Bartles, stellar guy. He was just sitting up there. You can tell he's totally introverted, super uncomfortable being in front of kids. And anyway, he just starts talking about what it's like to do production, and you step away from learning and you produce. And I'm like, okay, I can feel it. I was like, I'm getting chills right now. It's like everything was just clicking. So I went and talked to my teacher after Craig spoke, and I'm like, how do I get in his shop? I got to go there. I want to be there. I don't want to go to college, because I was going to go to trade school, learn auto body.
Yeah.
And he wasn't knocking trade school, but he was like, what you're learning here from Willie Harms is going to get you places. So if you're interested, come talk to me. Anyways, by the end of my senior year, I was asking, well, where can I go to the best shop in town? I want to work in the best shop in town. And they were like, well, I don't know if it's the best shop in town, but the guy you want to learn from is Craig. But you're not going to like working for him, like, so here I'm thinking, ooh, I got to do all this cool stuff. But I never thought about the human side of it, like what that's going to look like. So anyways, I scratched my way in the front door, and I got every excuse from Craig that he wasn't there and whatever. And finally, one of the men that worked there actually knew. I didn't know he worked there. And so I called him up and I'm like, hey, can you get me a meeting with Craig? And he's like, he's not answering your calls. They're looking for people. And so I guess there was some stressful stuff going on in the shop, whatever. And timing wasn't working for them. And I was motivated. Anyway, he said, well, I'm gonna drop a line to him, say you're calling or whatever. And he said, but I recommend you just get here. Just walk in the front door, tell him you're wanting to talk to him, and don't leave till he talks to you. So that's what I did. 4 hours sitting in the front office. Finally, Craig comes out. He said, are you Doyle? And anyway, I knew this is where I was going to be working. It was pretty cool. Good. So my first week of work was the next day. It was like I went in on a Tuesday. I was working on a Wednesday, and they had me pulling pine cones up from the yard and stuff around the shop, just typical.
They're not even letting you touch a car.
Yeah. No, I know. Like induction.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, they were slammed that week, like slammed. And he had a personal project going on that was collecting dust. And anyway, the office guy came out. He's like, how bad do you want this? And I'm like, well, you're paying me money to pick up pine cones, and I want this. So what do you want to do? And so they got me in Craig's toolbox. He said, well, you use these tools. If you lose them, you buy them. If you break them, you buy them. But tear down that car and get ready for paint. I'd never touched a Camaro in my life, So I'm figuring out how to get door panels off and windows out. And I found out later they were setting me up. Like Camaro doors are the worst to ever touch. They got windows that don't have any support. It was a joke. But I got it done, and it was ready for paint. And then they gave me another one. Next thing you know, I'm tearing down the front of a Chevy the next week, and they were like, who are you? Where are you,
Yeah.
So,
we thought you'd have left by now.
Yeah. So anyways, that was the beginning of my career, and I loved every minute of it. My wife and I got married, and then we moved to Minnesota for 2 years because they had a bad hailstorm in Minneapolis, St. Paul area, like a really bad one. It would crush cars kind of bad.
Oh, wow.
But around the Mall of America is where all of the cars came in on the tracks, and it supplied most of the Twin Cities and the northern half of Minnesota. And anyway, they were getting golf ball hailstones there, so all this stuff had to be fixed. It was unreplaceable. They didn't have enough roof skins and doors and things like that to fix or to replace stuff. So PDR became a big thing, paintless dent repair, and glass. They opened their own glass shop, PDR and glass shop at the body shop I was doing. That's how it was insane. So for 2 years, I was pulling dents out of roofs and stuff. I've never made that much money in my life. You could write checks if you're willing to work. Again, working around old school soldiers, like these guys knew how to pick and file, and they were using torches to pop dents out, and we're just.
What do you mean when you say pick and file?
Like you get under the metal with a little pick hammer, and you pick the dent up with the dolly on top. You're working the crown out. You're unstretching the metal, torching it a little bit, and then you file the crowns off to level it out. The people I learned from, these old school guys, were doing it like in the 50s, before what we call Bondo, ever existed. And so you use lead. Like you legit, you'd put
melt
flux.
lead,
you put flux on the steel and you put lead on it, and then you file over the lead, and then you prime it, and it's done, and they look spotless. He would do everything. Model
So does
T's
lead
in black.
bond to steel that well?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Real steel.
Yeah.
Not
Got the
Hyundai
new
and
stuff,
Toyota steel. We're talking American made, Model T fenders.
Right.
Anyways, these old guys were showing me how to do massive amounts of hail dents, and you could start saving panels. And then I realized, like, we lived in a replacement culture, and young people were being trained how to replace everything. So now I come back to Spokane, and I got my old job back, and now I'm like 4 years wiser. And I went on commission, which changed my paychecks for the rest of my life. But I was just dying to get into heavy collision. Like, how do I, back then, like in the early 2000s, airbags were coming out and cars were getting safe fast. And so it was like the Wild West. A frame would get crunched up, and these old school guys would just cut it off, put a new one on. Then lawsuits were coming into place because they get crashed again. Frame rails were coming in under the floorboards and hurting people. Airbags wouldn't go off right, whatever. So I learned real quick there was engineering involved, and there was like high strength steel, and then they were using water to make frames on trucks. They never saw heat. They were formed with high pressure water,
like water jetting them.
Yeah, I can't remember. They call it hydroform steel.
Okay,
it was epic. Like a lot of your Chevy trucks, even now, are that way. But in the 2005 era, a lot of Chevy trucks were hydroform steel on a 1-ton truck, and you can't fix that. So it was brittle. So they had specific places you had to put this in. It's just so fascinating to me. So we just got creative. We were figuring out, like, okay, well, I bet you there's trucks that were rollovers at Spalding's but had a good frame. It was cheaper to replace the frame and get paid to pull the motor than it was to fix it. So then you go from this repairing mentality to, well, I can make way more if I just swap the frame, but it's harder work and no one wants to touch that, So I got known in the city for doing the work that no one wanted to do. And so people would bring their Lexus, RX 500s up to Craig's to get fixed because they knew it would get done because they wouldn't total. They just wouldn't. They were so high value, and insurance wasn't extremely corrupt yet. So anyway, there's the history of my beginnings, but the entrepreneurial side of it started when I started going on commission. And it was a 60-40 split. The shop kept 60, I got 40. And you start figuring out how to work with insurance adjusters because that's where your paycheck was. It wasn't about how badly damaged the car was. Everything's fixable. There's no question. You can fix anything. It's a matter of the threshold for total, how much parts cost. If I could repair something, will they exchange the amount of the part in hours? Those kind of things. You're just constantly, the wheels were turning all the time. Then I realized I was more fascinated with that negotiation than I was with actually fixing the cars. And it got kind of a little boring, you know what I mean? So anyway, I ended up, the best thing that ever happened to me is I got injured. And I did lose everything. That's still, my wife and I will say, it's probably worst experience with the best outcome that could ever happen for our life. We learned how to like grind it out.
Yeah. How long a time period was that?
4 years.
4 years.
I was out of work for 4 years.
Wow.
In that 4 years, I started getting on the internet. I got myself in trouble because it looked like I was doing a lot of work, and I wasn't. But the internet back then was the Wild West. Twitter was just coming out. Pinterest was just starting up. Facebook pages were just becoming a thing. Businesses were grappling with this potential power, but it was a fad. It's never going to, and they're still trying to figure out email, and here YouTube is starting to slide up on your computers, and you're seeing MSN go away. You're seeing Gmail pick up. It's just this weird time, right? And so now I'm fascinated with that. Well, what, so I just started talking to people online and telling my story. Like, here's what's going on in my life. Here's what I'm interested in. I was on forums talking in comments, and I'd been doing some artwork. So I was showing off pictures and whatever, and I built this little brand out of it. So now I'm able to go to work. And
so you're just like custom fabricating staple pieces for stuff and selling them online?
Well, yeah, it was even less experiential than that. I was making handmade writing pens at my workbench because I had a nasty back injury. I got hit by a truck when I was walking in the shop at the body shop. A coworker drove a truck into me, and I'm not going to get into the details of that. It's messed up. So anyone wants to think that what's online is true, give me a call. Love to walk it through. But, it's a fun story.
You know that one.
Every time I see your posts, I'm full empathy, man.
Yeah.
Totally understand. So I start telling this, well, I guess I was making little writing pens, but it was in the hunting vertical.
Outdoor
genre.
hunting.
Outdoor stuff. I was taking bullets and pulling them apart.
Oh, yeah.
Punching a hole in the bullet and then put a cross pen refill in it, turn a deer antler on top. Painless work. And it was actually very therapeutic. My doctors were telling me straight up, dude, you're going to have to get busy or you're going to go insane. And we can't get you psychiatry. Yeah. I can fix your back, but you're going to have to stay busy. And so they were encouraging me to get a video game console. And like at the time, Halo was a big deal, I'm like, I don't think I want to be that guy. Yeah. Right. So my dad, I was taking the spirit of, it's my DNA. So I got busy with scraps in the shop. My dad had got me a wood lathe and stuff for my birthday a few years prior. I was just collecting dust. So anyway, he helped me build some tall workbenches so I didn't have to sit and I didn't have to bend. And so in my garage, I'm standing around all day. The most pleasurable position I could ever be in is just standing. Like if I would sit or lay, I'd turn into fetal position and then I have to go get therapy for that.
Really?
Yeah, it was a mess. It was a mess. It was gross. I hated the way I looked. I hated the way I felt. Yeah. But when I was standing there with a mindless project and I could keep my hands busy, it was cool. Anyway, and it was all approved by my doctors. So it's not like I was doing anything shifty. Yeah. And but the only thing I didn't tell them is I was talking about it online, which back then no one cared. No one cared what you're saying online until they did. So
it's true.
So to round this out, this little thing popped up in my Facebook feed called Launchpad. Yeah. You got Bill Cleavis on your show. Oh, yeah. I credit him with starting my business. So I'll summarize this so we can keep having fun. But I make a Launchpad profile because you could post to Facebook and LinkedIn at the same time. And I'm thinking, wow, that is some production right there. I'm posting on Launchpad.
Super efficient.
Yeah. It was so cool. I couldn't believe it. Nothing like TweetDeck didn't exist yet.
Yeah.
And so no sooner did that happen, TweetDeck came out and it's like, oh man. And now I'm doing Pinterest manual and Google Plus. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? I can't do it all at once, And so I just started picking my niche. What's going to work for me? Well, I was already good at Twitter, and Facebook was the big fad. And so I kind of just zoned in on those two things. By the time I went to the Launchpad grand opening in downtown Spokane, which I was flattered I was invited to, I had no nice clothes. I think I had one pair of Sunday pants and a polo shirt and broken shoes. and drove downtown. It was raining and slushy. It was like early, I can't remember. Bill, after he called the date, it's like February or something. It was nasty outside. I remember by the time I got up there, my shoes were so wet. They were all wet, so it didn't look wet.
Go all in with that one.
Yeah. The bottom of my shoes were broken, you know, so every time I'd step, my socks would get soaked up. And anyway, I saved the picture. It's pretty fun. The first photo I was ever taken of in a professional environment was at Launchpad that night.
What year was that?
That would have been 2011, 10.
Okay.
there,
So a little later than I was thinking. Yeah.
Somewhere in there. Yeah. Launchpad started before that. They were in the Holly Mason, then they moved to the 1890 building or something like that. Wherever Josh Wade's
it's right above it, the 1890 building.
Yeah. So that's where I started.
Yeah.
People knew who I was and I didn't know them. And that freaked I was like, what is going on? This is crazy. And they're like, oh yeah, you're Ammo Head from Twitter. That's amazing. You're here. This is cool, you know? And I'm like, what? How does this happen? You know? And then when I was driving home, it was just starting to grind. It was like, oh dude, this is going to be super fun. And then I found out Josh Wade started his wine bar on a blog. Yeah. And I'm like, no way, I'm going to start a business just doing this, you know? And I just got vibed up. I went home and told my wife and she's like, are you sure? You know, but we were in an environment where our family just didn't get it. I came from blue collar.
Yeah.
Like we didn't even have a computer.
Yeah.
We didn't have a computer. I was just figuring it out.
Yeah.
So anyways, it didn't take long. I had an iPhone 4 in my hand and I was telling Bill, like, can I run your accounts? Like, I'll show you how this is done. And he's like, what do you mean? I was, well, I'm going to start a social media only agency. And he started laughing. He thought that was hilarious, you know? And I'm like, what? But Josh started a wine bar with a blog. Like, I can help your business with Twitter right now, you know? And I was like amped, you know? So I'm coming off really strong. Like, dude, so
take it.
Even today, I always tell my wife, I got to slow down. I got to check my enthusiasm. Like it can take over. So
it's an infectious trait.
Yeah. So, anyways, Bill, we went to this lady, Hara Allison. She made me my logo for no charge. She heard my story. She said, can I make you a logo? But she saw what I was doing online. Now that I know what I know, she was getting some reach off of her work because of what I was doing. I just didn't know the power of what I was doing at the time. So she made me this cool logo. And then I got invited to her customer appreciation night. I hadn't spent a nickel. And I get invited to this dinner night. So I bring my wife. And it was the first time she'd been to an event since I was injured. So like, this is, you know, classy stuff with my broken shoes. And Bill was standing, you know, talking it up and doing his thing. And hey, Bill, I want to run your social media for LinkedIn or for Launchpad. You in? And he's like, dude, just Monday, I'll give you the passwords. Do whatever you want. This stuff doesn't really matter to me, you know? And
Shut Bill.
but back then you have to understand the context. Yes, we're talking out of line 16 years later. That's not the case. But back then it was so new and it was happening so fast. We all knew it was powerful, but we didn't understand how important it was.
Well, you also couldn't, I don't say you couldn't screw it up, but you couldn't screw it up that bad that quick, right? Like if somebody of prominence today gave you their passwords to like Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and just said, hey, manage this, you could really screw that up really quick. Like in a day, like in 3 posts, you could screw them up big time.
So
back then it was kind of like maybe like, what's he going to do? You know, like, I don't know.
Yeah, totally.
Like it was important, but it wasn't
fewer
like
eyes on it.
And I don't think it was as viral. Like you could probably say something that was a little off color, or you could like, you know, make a mistake and it probably, you know, nowadays, dude, if you're on Twitter and you say something, you know, man, that can be like, you know, seconds, you know, it's like, and it don't come back. You know?
And don't come back.
Back then, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, you're totally right.
So, I just don't think it was probably important, right? But it just wasn't as like fast moving.
I don't even think it was important. It'd be like AI was 8 months ago. Yeah. Like, you know, well, I get to it when I need to, you know, like whatever. But I had enthusiasm. Yeah. And so how does that go wrong? Kind of, you know? So what I didn't understand, I knew how to work with human beings. Like, you know,
I'm spilling my coffee everywhere. It's all right.
That's all. That means it was good. Full send.
Full send.
So the concept of working with insurance adjusters didn't ever leave me. Like I knew how to treat people as a human being, and I knew how to get respect. And that was by asking questions and waiting for responses before you just act. So with Bill, it was like, hey, here's what I was thinking I'd do. And I'd run it by him. And he's like, just do whatever you think, because you seem to know what you're doing. And I respected that power for whatever reason. I just respected it. And so I kept running things by him. And eventually Jennifer Evans started her event company right a desk away from me. And we started being able to check, like here's how the events are going. It was building a strategy. I didn't even know what that was. It was just like things were just starting to happen, but it was natural to me. So 6 months down the road, I had enough screenshots that I could go and talk to people. Did this crazy event with the Valley Chamber, and so the Valley Chamber, so KXOY sponsored this event, and then Launchpad they were asked if they would help KXOY. Okay. And so it was like a 3-way tag team thing. Well, Launchpad just happened to have the social media thing going on, and so
you were managing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so did KXOY. And my future partner in crime was running the KXOY one. And so we just like lockstepped. I was writing blogs on Launchpad's website, and we were exposing this thing. Just two knuckleheads running Twitter sold out this event. We ended up getting GoDaddy to come do a panel discussion, and it was like epic, So this is where the whole fun kind of comes to a head, and then my stories, gets boringer after that. But
This is exciting. So like this is what 2011. 11. Okay. Yeah. Kind of that mid. I feel like I have a similar journey that I like a lot of memories are coming when you're talking that like I feel like I forgot about.
Yeah.
But it's like kind of that era of high school in the 90s, trade school, right? But technology wasn't like they had computer labs at school, but like I said, if you had one in your house, it was kind of a big
Green
deal.
screen,
And even then, a lot of people didn't use them.
No.
Like we had a computer-ish, but it was like for homework or writing a paper. It wasn't like, maybe like little, but it's so I would say technology was around and yet not as useful and kind of almost even like ignored for so long. Like that, like now you have to kind of go back, like as you're talking, I'm going back and thinking like, where was I at this time or this and that? But the same thing is like, I got into Launchpad fairly early. But just as like a real estate agent or a broker, I saw some value in networking with people. Right. And so then there's like, oh, now you can network online, right?
Game changer.
Yeah. But it also was just kind of like an aha. Like you were like, man, because before that you were going to a Chamber of Commerce meeting. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You were waiting for next Thursday at 3 or whatever the thing was. And I was like, you can do it anytime. You it could be 8 a.m. in the morning. You could be just write a blog post. Here's a little about me or my business. It was like, and Facebook, same thing, that blow up of, it was primarily in universities, right? Facebook initially was just like, it was college. The only other people on your Facebook were other people that went to your university or college. Then they kind of opened it college to college. Then they opened it to the public. But even then it was like, what is this? Mm-hmm. Adults were not into it. No. It was not mobile. It wasn't on your device. Mm-hmm. It was like, go home, plug a computer in. You might see messages that were a week and a half old. No one was like, it's evolved so quickly, so fast.
Absolutely.
That now it's like, like you were saying before, it's like, even if you'd have wanted to, I don't know if you could have done a whole lot to propel your business with like great Twitter information in 2011.
No.
Yeah. Now it's like you could build your whole business in a month on Twitter if you had the right strategy and the right people and the right help,
Yeah. And that's expensive now.
Yeah.
The right strategy comes at a cost.
Yeah.
Well, so it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I think of like going to your mechanicking sort of analogy. It's like the tools in your toolbox can do so many things, but you have to have the knowledge to do them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So everybody has the same crescent wrench, man. Everybody's got the same half inch, how come this guy's building like, epic things over here and I'm over here putting together a lawnmower and it's broken. Right.
Yeah.
So it's to some of the extent, it is not the tools, right? It's the mechanic, so to speak, or the operator. But then to some other extent, it's like, you also, there are those little niche tools, right? Mm-hmm. There are those little things along the way that you realize, like you have this little bendy hook thing that no one has, that you self-create.
Yeah.
That you're like, separates you from the herd
Yeah.
kind of thing. So
Yeah,
I'm hearing these parallels as you talk.
I love it.
I'm fascinated by it because I'm like, oh yeah, like that's so true. Because the internet was there, and yet the value I don't think was there.
There was no value. Well, no
perceived value yet.
Perceived
right? 'Cause
value.
There was no
perception.
perceived value, and I would say the value was further off down the road.
Yeah.
It was like it wasn't as instantaneous a value, maybe.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's interesting, man. Fascinating to
And
to see.
and that's how marketing evolved, right? I mean, it's how you're
See.
presenting the information to people. And at the time, it was because it was so clunky and it wasn't direct. A billboard made sense. You're seeing it every day. You're seeing it every day. Now the fact is, I can get a new feed every second. It's going to become the better medium to get in front of people.
Well, and it's gotten more accessible, but it's also gotten more. You've gotten more accessibility to the accessibility.
Yeah.
Like, before when I was in college and same thing, kind of nerding out and exploring with this stuff, got into real estate. But I was like, I was going to my friends who were computer engineer like majors or were computer science majors to help build a website.
Yeah.
But you kind of needed that, right?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it wasn't
was like you
intuitive.
couldn't just build your own website, or you couldn't just ask Google how to do it, right? Like
Right.
nowadays with like search and AI, it's like you can literally say, show me how to do this.
You can get it
YouTube, you can say, hey, show me how to replace my own alternator in my car. And there's some guy with a video that shows
Yeah.
you.
Oh, yeah.
Back then, it was like you didn't have that accessibility to the information.
Yeah, and I think that's where AI is so different. Is that I think the internet was the tool, and then AI is the brain. And because a lot of people can take a tool, like same thing. If you gave me that same wrench, I wouldn't even know where to touch it on a car. Now you're adding a new feature that says, here's exactly where you do it.
That's right.
Twist at three-quarter degree turn. Right? And I think that's what makes this move even more interesting as far as leveling that playing field. And I think it's going to be harder to differentiate.
Yeah.
Whereas there, you could have had a friend group that who knew how to code, and you could actually change and modify it. Whereas now it's like everyone has that plugin.
Yeah.
So now how are you gonna that little niche at top gets smaller and smaller as you democratize that information? Because then that's where I look at it. I'm like, great, I went to law school, but you could literally say, all right, got hit by a forklift at work. And then
You can
Chat
get
G
the
in its
outcome.
basic form will give you the 5 doctrines you're going to use now. The differentiation is how do you actually present those? How do you file it? How do you
Exactly.
do it? But that's only because our court systems are old.
Yeah.
As soon as the court systems catch up, that's going to be an integrated feed system.
Absolutely.
Like permitting, I think of it, especially in building all the time. Like, why aren't permits turned in 2 days?
Yeah.
It still is fascinating to me that we can't turn a construction document set and you say, look, here's the 3 flags. Well, it's not that the technology doesn't exist to highlight the flags. It's that the system that technology sits in is so old.
Totally.
And that's where I'm interested to see how the world adapts to that. Because you look at colleges, law of efficiency should be online,
Yeah.
but you've already invested so much in the buildings.
You got the
can't just go
buildings.
online.
And the
So
facilities.
So it's
yeah.
going to be that AI is going to force this weird interaction between them. Like on ours, we just sold our larger building. It was this big building. It's a 16,000.
17.
Yeah, so about this building, because we had at one point 140 agents, and now we're down in 5,000 square feet, and we cut our budget by 85%,
So good.
and still maintaining the same production.
Yeah.
And that's
amazing.
what's going to be the interesting one. So I think entrepreneurs will benefit the most from it, but it'll be how do we intersect with old systems
Yeah.
that don't move.
Well, just going back to like where I started, HTML was the only way. HTML and
C++, man.
yeah. And that was like, I remember in my entry into that field, HTML was the bomb, and then there's Flash players. And that was a website. They were cringy. They were literally the front half of a blog, which has ended up being WordPress anyway. But then it took 2 years. HTML5 came out, and they were doing this huge thing about how they were going to shut down Flash, right? And then all of a sudden, HTML5 was out, and templates were on WordPress. So HTML, you had to have a computer science degree and $30,000 to get a website.
Yeah.
2 years later, a computer science degree that was, had the brawn to charge a lot of money, but you could do it in 1/10 of the time with a template and manipulate it. Now, fast forward 16 years. I mean, you could take a high school kid that is interested in computers, so maybe has that brain set, right? And most of them do anyway, could build a website in a day. It's not going to look any different than it did in 2010, but it'll need a lot of work. But I'm just saying, you can have a domain connected to a website with information on it in a day from a junior high kid.
Yeah, and it's just fast.
That's the
funny.
evolution.
I remember we paid $5,000 for 4degrees.com because at the time you wanted
so
a .com
crazy.
because if you were a .net, you weren't sure if people would think you were legitimate. Now I look at it and I'm like, somebody just did a .ai and I'm like,
.io,
.io, and I'm like, but I think of it, the brokerage was the best example. Like when we started 4 Degrees, it used to be that your brokerage proved your credibility.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff, the walls I've seen break down where now nobody even really cares what brokerage you're at.
Yeah.
It's who are you as a person, because it's just leveled the playing field for what a John L. Scott used to offer.
Yeah.
Now it's just expensive. Why is it expensive? Because the system John L. Scott used to build it is expensive. And now you could start up a brokerage today and undercut all of those and beat them to it. I think EXP, I think, is one of the forefronts of trying to do that. And then my only caveat to all of it, I think there's a pendulum shift that comes back to people want to do this in person. Like, I think the people who can still communicate to people is going to win the day.
Yeah.
Because I hate it. I hate being behind my phone the whole time. Because all that happened was I'm more productive. That sucks.
And yet some people prefer to be behind their phone the whole time, right? Like there's definitely, I mean, you see both sides of it, right? Certain people prefer more distinct communication or separation.
Yeah, where you're forced to. Like I had this cool proud dad moment. So we had our Brick West meeting yesterday, but then I was, during that same time, my mother-in-law and my daughter, Logan, were meeting with the city because the dog park just north of Brick West, they don't maintain it. And so it stinks every summer. It just has this, when the wind blows, it's just terrible. And so, but she presented like 2 ideas, but I was using kind of chat to help her build out these models. She goes and presents, and I think she's going to present next week in front of city council.
Whoa, that's cool.
And it's those things where I'm like, those are still skill sets you should have. Like, as much as you can solve a lot of problems now without talking or being with people, it's like that skill set, I think, is the kind that'll win the day. It's still being able to communicate it effectively, because chat's going to give you the words. You still got to be able to effectively distribute that information.
Well, that's a scary thing too. It's like you can train your chat to understand who you are, and your outcomes now become you, right? Yeah. But it will produce content that you never thought of, but it is what you do, right? So then you actually have to go back and learn it. Yeah. Like you can't just say, hey, here's what I'm thinking, boom, and someone's literally going to read 10 documents. No, you have to go with some preparation. You can't impute that.
You get frustrated with chat for doing that sometimes, right? Like it would like frame back to me my own thoughts, and then I'd be like, no, think like you're not me. I'm already thinking that. I'm trying to talk to you like you're not me, you know?
So true.
Yeah, or it like tries to buddy up to you, you know? Well, in your MS4 framework, this would look like, and I'm like, no, don't frame this in my framework, right? I built the framework. That's my framework.
Yeah. But like you said, it's just going to keep building on itself. But I think that'll be a skill set. So we try to challenge her to do that, because I don't think I've spoken in front of city council, actually. I think I've only been to one meeting.
Oh, man, that's a vibe.
And it's but being able to have the confidence to go in and do it. And I was like, man, the person who can marry the technology with the equipment and that delivery, that's what I think.
My problem is I need to learn how to go in there when I'm not angry about something, because usually when I'm in there, I have an agenda, or I'm upset about a thing, or I want to be. So then it's like the whole dynamic shifts, right? Like I've never thought about like, oh, just take something that you really don't have. Like, how do we make the dog park better? I'd be like, then I could go down there and be like, well, here's a few ideas.
Yeah,
usually I'm down there like, what are you thinking? Do you know what you're doing?
One thing I found out is if you're motivated to speak at city council, sign up like at 5:50, because then you'll go last. You get to hear what everybody else says first.
Yeah,
and then it's very fascinating. Yeah. I've never felt like unheard before until I went to city council. I'm going to say that out loud.
Oh, like you feel like, why am I even presenting?
Yeah. Well, that's the other part that I think deters you, is once you do it a few times, you're kind of like, they don't give it anyway, right? Yeah. Like I'm just down here and they're going to think, thanks for your opinion. We're still going to do it.
Oh, the worst was the one I went to. They sat there and they're like 4 of them were on their phones while this person was trying to tell their story. And you're like,
it's so disrespectful.
They only have 2 minutes. Let them do their 2 minutes. They've been sitting in this stupid room for an hour. Yeah. I'm disingenuous with the process now, and then it's just hard because you're like, especially with all the information we have, we're still making decisions like this. It's like, well, it's not like the information's not there.
The unanimous,
it's just the agenda with it.
Sorry,
that's it.
The unanimous 7-0 vote on the proposition for the homeless situation, sit and lie thing. I will tell you, it did pay off to go speak. It both pros and cons. Like, it didn't matter. They did hear a lot, and it mattered a lot.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I could care less if it was an election week. I think it would have gone that way under the circumstances had it been 6 months earlier. It took that much time for the homeless situation to fester. But when I say fester, it took that long for enough business owners to say, okay, I'm done in December if this doesn't fix.
Yeah.
And so my point is, like, I had 3 minutes, they had 3 minutes, but we filled it up. Like, there was 60 people that spoke that night. And they tried, when I say they, city council had things that was on their agenda. It is what it is. They're doing their job. All I can do is do my job. And I can share my heart to them. If they choose to listen, I want another conversation. And so that was kind of my caveat. So Mayor Brown actually wanted to meet with me after I brought some things up. And we had a good conversation about that. And next thing you know, Paul Dillon wants to meet. And we had a round table with DSP with him. Yep. And they listened. Like, when it's one-on-one, they do. And they did a great job. I'm not going to lie. We can all disagree. We can all agree that, on politics, which aren't even supposed to exist in city council. But nonetheless, we all got on the same page, and it was good. It was good. And there's a huge difference in downtown. I mean,
it's massive.
It's massive.
Yeah. I would just say it was uniquely timed with an election week as well.
It seems that way.
But that was my only thought. And then you watch some of the regressive stuff after.
I do believe the tax deficit was a huge hammer on that, because we were all standing up and saying, look, we see the taxes we're paying, and the policies in place is keeping people from being downtown.
Correct.
If they're not spending money in our businesses, we can't pay you more taxes. I'm not going to donate taxes.
Yeah. Right.
So if you want $13 million in a deficit to come in, get us $13 million busier times 70%, and you'll get your 30% of taxes. Yeah. This is not rocket science, And so that narrative really started clicking, I feel like. But
definitely did. Well, and it also was supplemented by 7 businesses going out of business.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
It's so
really
bad.
hard. And then it's that. Anyway,
and the trifecta of the actual visual appearance and the display downtown, right? Because business owners squawking about there's an issue downtown is one thing, or people who maybe don't come downtown or aren't as familiar hear people like us on a podcast, but they don't have a perception. But I think it was the trifecta was also like the actual visible, like you're coming up on Thanksgiving, Christmas, and downtown was like, it looked crappy. Right?
Yeah,
like
it was bad.
It was like you couldn't ignore it. I was like, I'm driving downtown. Like, you can't not see this, right?
Right there.
You can't put enough blinders on to disappear this. And so I think that was the other, it was kind of like the third thing that I think really was like, was it just finally came to a head downtown where it was so visible and so absolutely obvious that they're like, yeah, we have to do something about this? Or was it the people at the hearing talking to them, or was it an election year? I don't know. Yeah. I'm happy it happened.
Yeah, I'm glad it happened.
And be aware, it can change again. Yeah, it changed. We saw a unanimous vote for what we got. Yeah. It could go back. I mean,
for sure.
We have to be real about that.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
you just hope you saw the before and after, right? Like, it's so dramatic, the before and after.
Well, everyone on city council, including the mayor as well, to their credit, want the best for Spokane, but through their lenses. And our lenses, we don't see it the same. Yeah. And so it's like we have to get on the same page somehow. So we're kind of seeing it the same, Yeah. And it's a tightrope act. And I mean, I seriously, I can't say enough good things about that we needed their help, and they stepped up and helped us. Bottom line. So
they're great. Betsy's one of my favorite people.
She's awesome.
And you're looking for those same ones. But living downtown, it's very visible. And I think sometimes it just gets forgotten about because not many people live downtown.
Yeah.
So you just see it enough to catch the glimpse of what it looks like. If you ever spend a day downtown, actually, Saturday we have our West End Beer Fest. I'll be down there the whole time, traversing through that whole thing. And, and it's just amazing what Spokane does really well. And that's what I think we've done a pretty decent job of, is like highlighting the good, address some of this, because it can't go unaddressed. But like, there are also a lot of good things happening.
There's more good than bad.
Yeah, like all these tournaments are coming in, the P&Q, all of that stuff. Like it really, we could become this awesome like tourist city.
For sure.
So
we have an airport.
Yeah. An expanding airport.
Yeah.
And I get a unique perspective because a lot of the lenders and people I work with are out of New York. And so those are their questions. It's all infrastructure related.
Yeah.
And so the fact we're putting that much into the park was a big one. The airport, the connectivity there. They asked a lot about STA, which was super interesting to me. Yeah. Just
I'm sure
public
it's what they
transit,
get
intermodal.
on Reddit or what they get on the Google searches.
And then it's jobs, like types of industries. But those are really the key ones. And then we're hitting on, I mean, they're doing awesome out at the airport. And so I'm excited.
Me too. It's weird to say, let's rebuild Spokane. It's like, it doesn't really need rebuilt, but under the circumstances of, the ordinances getting flipped on their head and then seeing it fall apart, and it only fell apart, I mean, humanly, really. It's like Mayor Brown asked me what I thought we should do. I'm like, well, mow the lawn. Clean the house, just start cleaning. It's a mess right now. You can't change a narrative until the actual problem changes. So, I mean, like when I get a news hit or something on something that happened with one of our locations.
Yeah, I just saw that thing that happened. Did you recently on the Skywalk one?
Yeah, our Sporks Biscuit Bar got robbed on last weekend. Got a news hit on it, which is good because I want to bring awareness that there are people stealing. Yeah. But it wasn't to say like it's dangerous downtown, don't come downtown. It's like, hey, there's new things downtown and they're still down here. That there's people stealing stuff in Ritzville. Yeah. It's not like it's just an isolated Spokane issue. And it's easy for a keyboard cowboy to, come in and say, oh, thanks, Mayor Brown. I go and respond to all those. This isn't a political problem. No. This is a small-minded human that took my stuff problem. Yeah. And we were in the Skywalk. It's been dark for 2 years. No one stole from it when there wasn't anything there. Yeah. So, like, business owners, there's huge opportunity in the Skywalk to do something really radical right now. Yeah. Let's come play together. More people in the Skywalk is more community downtown. And I'm not just isolating the Skywalk either.
There's those cool pockets. Yeah. I think sometimes it's hard to resonate with the story of it, but like pre-COVID, downtown was the place to be.
Dude.
It was
downtown
everything
was awesome.
You touched was moving. It was great. And then it was like
awesome.
COVID just took that life out of it. And now it's re-injecting it back in there. But it's as soon as we can change the narrative around less talking about homelessness and more about those cool features that it has. It's
homeless. The word homeless is a rebrand on what actual mental health issues and drug use looks like on the street. Yeah. I'd say they're outdoor people with mental health crisis. Yeah. I don't think I know what it's like to be homeless. I was there. Yeah. It's not like that. And I didn't go to drugs. I mean, that was later after I was depressed, but it wasn't drugs, it was alcohol. But still, anything's fixable. Yeah. Anything's fixable. I see some of these guys downtown pulling their cart, looking all, hunched over and whatnot. I'm like, I wonder if Ellen and I ran them through the ringer too.
Man. Well,
they just didn't have the support system I did,
Right. Yeah. But it also sells. I do pretty regular posts. Whitney runs like on the social media side of what I do, but I do normal posts. I get, 5,000-10,000 views. I did one because I was so frustrated. We had just picked up Brick West Plaza and they had that one. And there was just an encampment. The biggest one I've ever seen. Usually it's a person. I'm like, hey, just by 8 o'clock, if you can clean up and be out of here. This one was like 5 guys. It looked like a circus came down. But it got like 87,000 views. And I was like, this is why people follow it. Yeah. And then you watch the post. It's not even about how do we help Brick West.
Right.
It's about that divisiveness. Right. And they've just created such a divide. So my goal is to always defer and focus the attention on all the other stuff. So
it's bad. You have to.
That's why I like your response to it.
There's activity. Yeah. There's activity. Yeah. Whenever someone's trying to do something good, evil's right beside you. It's not going to go away. It's just human nature, right? Yeah.
I'm always fascinated by just the ratio of negative to positive comments or interactions in general. And I think that says to me, it's like, again, it's more of a testament to the person on the other side of the keyboard. Yeah. Like what's happening in their life or their day or whatever. But I'm like, because people will spin things negatively that are like, you could I could post a picture of me catching a fish on my Facebook post, and someone will be like, "Thanks, Mayor Brown." You're like, "What?"
You only got one.
This is what happens when the war. It's so disconnected that you're like, no, clearly this was on their heart or their mind before they ever saw this picture or post. But I do think the ratio societally has, there's something we have to do there because, I don't know if it's. I don't know, because when I interact with people, maybe you guys have a different experience, but when I interact with people, I don't feel like the people I interact with are super cynical or downtrodden or angry or upset. I would say for the most part,
They're happy as clams.
Yeah, most people are doing well, or or even if they're not, they're looking at. But whatever it is online, I feel like it's different.
It's different.
I feel like, but they're the same people.
Yeah.
And even in my interactions, like if you guys ever go to like a barbecue or something, and you interact with people, and you'll literally say those same people online a few days later or a
totally
week later.
Different people.
And and you're like, I literally just talked to Sally last week. She seemed pretty cheery. Like Sally right now looks like she's gonna rip someone's head off, like online. It's like
so bizarre.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah.
And that kind of is not in your heart. That's not who they are.
Right.
Correct.
But that's who they are online. Or that's the perception that they give off online, and yet you meet them and you're like, they're actually not that bad of a person. I kind of like that person.
I like that person.
And then I'm like, oh god, they come off really like full of venom and angry online.
It's super weird, and I think, I learned early on just not to talk about opinions in politics when you're doing, especially when you're doing work on someone else's behalf.
Yeah,
that's just cardinal. That's just not good. That's why PR was such a big deal back in the days, because people would jump up in front of a microphone and say something stupid on TV. And then, it was like $40 million to fix the issue. And now, you get into this thing where it's instant, and you will be perceived. Perception's reality on the internet. Yeah. Like if you put a happy face on a profile and then you're saying stupid, sad stuff, like people are going to think you're frowning through your teeth. And and then the opposite, you could have your profile photo as a donkey and you're saying the most positive things, but they're going to think you're a donkey with the positive attitude, so you got to be real. And like, you can't be faking positivity or negativity, but if, your opinion thinks it's going to matter, there's a time and place for it. Like maybe DM it and hope you don't get screenshotted, but it's still saying it out online in a comment section. It doesn't go away. It doesn't go away. And it's just like a stain on your person, on your character, I don't know. But like every time.
Well, and I think sorry to interrupt you. I think the thing I've noticed is I've probably said some stupid things in passing in person, and they are forgotten or they're nowhere to be found in 10 minutes, right? The problem with that online thing is it's like, I definitely, typed off on a keyboard like that, but then that perception stays there forever.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Even though, so it starts to, people start to identify you as these one-off statements or comments. And it's like, and that's I guess I wrestle with that philosophically. It's like, I did mean that when I said it in that moment. Like,
I didn't want to take
I wasn't,
that back,
but now I got to go back and like, I didn't really mean that or something. It's like, no, actually, I actually really meant that when I said that in that moment. And by the way, I say a lot of things in a lot of moments that I mean, I mean, a stop sign, someone, doesn't take their turn. And I'm like, what a jerk, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, later on, I'm like, oh, he's actually a nice guy. I didn't really mean it. It's like, no, he was in that moment. I thought that guy was a jerk, Now, do I go around screaming at people all the time? No, but it's like, that's the hard part with that digital world is there's no context a lot of times, or very little context, but then it lives in that infamy of, it's not just a stupid comment you can get away with saying in a moment, I guess.
No, because it's held there forever.
If you see someone say something nasty on one of your posts or something like that, 9 times out of 10, if you track them down on their profile or whatever, it's all private. Yeah, spineless.
I would say the bulk share of my observations are people that don't have profile pictures. I don't know what it is.
Isn't that weird?
It's like, but it's always the picture of the donkey, or it's a picture of a set of flowers, or it's a picture, and I'm always like, who is this person, right? I go diving into but it's like, see profile picture and you'll swipe like 8 times and that's just inanimate objects, It's the vase in their house, it's the rocks, it's like, who is this person?
Well, building community through coffee, you get all of the spectrum. You get all of it, every bit of it. And it is neat. It's fascinating to see happy people over a cup of coffee that have mutual respect because of, they're in the same space, but shoulder to shoulder, they could be apolitical. Mm-hmm. They could be, they could have their sexuality might not align, like all kinds of crazy things. And it's like literally unfolding in front of us. No hate. It's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
And then that could change in a heartbeat if someone took a picture of it and shaded on them or something like that, But I've seen more cards and profile exchanges going on over people that you could tell totally don't align, but in that moment, in that space, they clicked on something, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, I like it.
It's the power of being in person. The hard part about all those, right? It's always taken out of context.
Yeah.
It's a statement.
Yeah.
But in person, I say the same thing about Brick West. I'm like, it's hard to argue over a pint of beer. Like,
that's right.
You're sitting down there and you're creating community over that, but it's also that in person where you can add context and some of those elements to it.
Yeah.
So I remember the first one, there was that Garland article that came out and blamed me for not giving the Garland stuff. I'm like, and I was like, guys, I don't even own it. I think the article said I didn't own it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know how to. And then I commented back on 3, and that was it. I was like, I'm done. What am I doing? I can't convey to them the context around what their statement is,
right,
and how off it is. And
so I typically only respond to the positive comments.
Yeah, smart. That's
right. Like, so there's the whole Joe Rogan style. Like, he just doesn't respond to nothing, never. Right. Like, he'll straight say it. He's like, I haven't responded or even looked at comments or. I think Kevin Hart's the same way. They're literally like, they just put stuff out and they don't even look, right? Yeah. And I thought about that, but I like interacting with my friends or my people. So, but I just kind of refuse to go into that. So it's like, so there'll be like 15 and I'll hit the 7 and leave the others. I'm like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, it's just baiting you to respond, and then it was like, oh man.
Well, and the other thought I had the other day is like, I kind of I like having like philosophical conversations or even like banter. Or heated, like I would happily like sit down and if they were like, hey Keith, you should talk to Doyle, like he's a staunch believer in XYZ and we know you feel differently. I'd be like, yeah, let's talk. But not because I
want to pit two people together.
Right. But because opinions. Like for me, I'd be like, well, I'm going to learn something from this, or maybe you might, or maybe we just like have a good time bantering. But I'm also a person who like, like we could wrestle and I'm not going to punch you, right? Like, it's like someone defines the rule, like, hey, you guys want to wrestle? I'm like, sure. But then it's like somebody like smacks someone, you're like, whoa, right? So then it's like, but I kind of like doing that in person, I guess you'd say. Like even if it's a card game or if it's a dinner or barbecue, like I don't mind talking politics or religion or things that a lot of people, just because like I've know enough to know that like, hey, we can have this conversation and still drink a beer. Yeah. The hard part is like I have yet to see how you can do that online.
You
can't.
We could get a little heated at my dinner table and give each other a hug on the way out the door. Yeah. Online, it just always
because you're gonna read it in the worst light. You're gonna you don't get the here you get the body language, you get that piece of it. But it was one of that happened. One of the guys was an employee at the Garland that wrote one, and I reached out to him because I was like, hey, I'd love to chat with you about what you think went wrong here. And he's like, oh, I'm too busy right now. And I'm like, well, no, I mean like. If you truly think I've really messed this up with this design, which I think is fantastic, let's meet. Let's chat about it. And nobody's taking me up on it. I'm like,
isn't that weird?
I'd love to just chat with you guys. Like, if you feel like I wronged you somehow in some way, but it doesn't. People just feel super comfortable with that one-sided piece, and then that's what's missing in our communities.
Yeah, 100%
is where you have judgment-free conversation. Don't take it personal. Just have an actual conversation. There's none. That's argue. There's none.
That's why Brick West and First Avenue Coffee and in Daba, like all these community locations where you can come and get together. That's why there's long tables.
Yeah,
just chat. Like
it's my favorite. I go down to Brick West all the time. Beer's really good, but also just that's where I meet everybody. It's just there's something calming about it, and just watching other people communicating that way.
When I was getting into coffee in 2012, when I met Deb DeBernardo, she was the owner of Roast House, and then she eventually built First Ave. Her and I were friends when I started my marketing company because she was like the first person I actually had an ongoing professional relationship on Twitter with. Anyway, she invited me to her roastery and we just hit it off. Like she could build community in person. I could do it digitally, and together we became problems. Like we were getting packed houses doing stuff. It was cool. Problems in a good way. Yeah. But one of her favorite quotes, and I'll never forget this. She said, everything good, every happy thing happens over liquid, whether it's coffee, water, a cup of cool water, a beer, a whiskey, wine. And she said, coffee's probably where it's at because it's an energizer, she was always there. You're going to change the world, do it over coffee. Anyway, it was pretty fun.
Good. So what are your plans now for expanding? Obviously expanded in the Skywalk with a different concept, actually.
Yeah.
So got any more fun ones in the works?
Yeah. So across the Skywalk in the U.S. Bank building, we're working on a coffee shop. So we'll have another First Avenue there. We're going to call it Little Avenue Coffee. And so the idea for my concept is that it is a skywalk thing, and I wanted a full cafe up there. There's not enough room. Yeah. So Spork's Biscuit Bar evolved to what it is now because the biscuits are insane. They're super good. Yeah. And then that'll be the food side of our cafe, and then we'll have coffee, one skywalk hop over. And DSP, Downtown Spokane Partnership, is going to put some bistro tables in the skywalk. Nice. And we're going to have some high tops on both sides.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can order your coffee in US Bank Building and a biscuit and pick up your biscuit on the way by, and vice versa. You can get your coffee at the biscuit bar. So I'll be connected via the internet. It's going to be amazing. Anyway, should be pretty cool. And then in about a month, we're going to open in the Museum of Arts and Culture.
Oh, wow.
Super excited about that.
Tell us more about that one.
Yeah. So last year at Hoop Fest, Wes was the CEO of the MAC. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that was insane. That was a busy day. We had all new people, and I was showing them how to work. Oh, that was crazy. Hoop Fest is not the day to train people, but out of necessity.
Trial by fire, man.
Yeah. And then when I'm behind bar, I'm having fun. So it's like at the expense of reviews. Anyways, Wes just happened to be up there when I was wiping down a table, and he's like, "Hey, can you call me on Monday? I want to talk to you about something." And I knew exactly what he was going to bring up. So anyway, for whatever reason, people have been turning it down. I know why. I mean, it's an awkward space. Yeah. But it's beautiful. If you look at it from the perspective of what the customer is going to see, it's perfect. So let's work around inside and make it work. That's that again, goes back to my beginnings, like just take something broken and make it awesome. And my team's on board with it. So anyway, it's been a long process working. It's state owned. So we're literally going to be a vendor for the state. So we've had to jump through a lot of hoops, but we're making it happen. I think it's be huge because there's a lot of season pass holders at the museum that have been dying to make it a day trip to go check out the museum and have a place to chill and eat and imbibe. So we'll get our
Where
liquor.
Are you putting it at?
So if you go into the main entrance where the ticket area is, it's all the way back to the windows.
Oh, so you'll have that view. You'll have like the corridor view down the. That's one of the coolest buildings. I would thought if you could turn that into a house. Such a cool spot.
Yeah,
if they have a little concert area like the amphitheater.
Yeah, there's a little amphitheater down there.
Oh.
I'm like jogging my memory. I have to go revisit that.
Yeah, we just got a pass so we got a year pass.
Nice.
We're gonna go down there. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like the Campbell House. It's like my favorite.
Campbell House. Right now they're doing the Lego demo.
Brick by brick.
Brick by brick.
Funny they took our name. I was like, should we pair that with a beer?
You should do
the tour, buy a beer. It makes sense.
Every time you go down there, drop some stickers.
There you go.
And I was like, technically, we trademarked that name, so I gotta.
So yeah, we're doing that. And then I'm, those are kind of in the works. I guess First Ave is, it's a part of the fabric of Spokane. First Avenue Coffee just kind of, Deb had a vision for it, and I'm keeping that vision alive, kind of using her legacy as fuel for the future there. So we'll see what happens next, but I wanted to see what it's like to do smaller pieces of that, spread it out, because there is a need for, like in the Skywalk, they're looking for what we have, and they don't want to walk to First Ave to get it. Yeah. So give it to the people, and one thing I've always learned is if the market says something, you better listen, just do it, just go for it. And the worst case scenario, I'll have to bow out, but I'm not that kind of guy. I personally guarantee my leases, so I'm stuck. Gotta make it work.
Make the concept work.
Yeah. Burn the boats. But, so then, we're outgrowing our bakery. So we'll be looking for a space to open up a bakery. And
where's it now? Is it at First Ave?
At First Ave, yeah. We literally took the back half of First Ave and turned it into a full bakery. And another people get shade is the health district. Those are I've gotten some of the best help from those people, and they have to work on their time. Yeah. I mean, they're busy. They're spread thin. It's a public agency, and they're trying to keep people from getting botulism. Right. I mean, okay, so how do I prevent botulism in my business? And one of the fascinating things is, like, again, I learned how to work with difficult people in the beginning, so I don't think anyone's difficult. Yeah. And so it's like, okay, well, these people hold the keys to the next step in my business. So how do I talk to them, let them know we're on the same page? And I want to know what they know so that I can do it right. And it actually saves them a lot of time. They can come in, inspect, check all the boxes. I pay close attention to our inspections. What are they looking for? What do they need to know? What's most important? So now when we build out a space, those things are all part of the checklist, the punch list to to get open, and we've had some of the easiest processes with that. So it's pretty cool. Anyways, I don't know how I got on that subject. I guess it's just kind of
bakery. You're looking for a new space for a bakery.
I don't know what that's going to look like. I got my fingers in a few ideas, but there's so many nostalgic places in Spokane that could just be turned up. And I know during COVID, we lost a lot of restaurants. They kind of lost their addresses, and the front half of the place got changed, but it still has a hood in the back. It's like, I want that.
Yeah.
But who knows? We'll see what happens. But we will need to get a bakery. We're starting a syrup company. We've made our syrups in-house and developed a process to make them rich so you can taste it. It's like gentle with the coffee, but it's still elevated flavors. So you can have a lot of creativity in a cup of coffee. And anyway, we're going to take them to market. So this year is going to be a lot of work going there. But instead of making a place for doing syrups, we're going to build a place for the bakery and then use what we have created, just kind of switch things out. The syrup process isn't hard. It doesn't require a lot of equipment. It's a lot of thinking and a lot of chemistry. But, we just need burners, and we don't need a hood. So that's the beautiful thing. Yeah. You just need a couple of smart people doing it. But, so we'll see how it all goes. I've got big dreams. I really want Spork's Biscuit Bar to turn into a retro diner. And we lead with biscuits, but we'll have the best waffles and pancakes you've ever had. We can make syrups in our sleep, so you can only imagine where that could go.
Yeah, nice.
Anyway, I think there's a lot of creative ways to blend what we're good at into concepts that people have never experienced in our area before. I travel a lot with marketing, and I head down to Phoenix a lot. I'm down in Texas a lot. There's biscuit restaurants everywhere. I can't tell you how frustrating it is to go to a biscuit restaurant and they only have 2 biscuit things on their menu. And then it's like they're starting with the omelet and the pancake, and it's like, dude, where's the biscuit? It's in your name.
It's in your name.
This is supposed to be a biscuit place.
I know. It's like going to a coffee shop and all they serve is beer.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that wouldn't suck.
I mean, that's a positive.
Yeah. Pleasant surprise.
Pleasant surprise. At 9 a.m., it's a little different, but yeah.
Yeah, we just got our liquor license at First Ave. Yeah. So we're making coffee cocktails now. Nice. And we're exploring the world through coffee cocktails. We're the only country where you can go to a coffee shop and they don't serve liquor.
Yeah.
It's weird. Well, I get it. It isn't weird because there's liquor stores down the street from you, or whatever. It's a DIY community there. Yeah. But there's some of the most fascinating coffee drinks. And when we're making them, we make a legit espresso martini right off our espresso machine. And it's steaming right on the ice, and it's nice, good shake. It's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
We were literally like, should we rename our espresso martinis to be the best espresso martini in the P&W? Like, that's a good title. Because when you go to a bar, you're likely going to get coffee liqueur and a medley of, stale cold brew or yesterday's coffee or something. I'm not knocking bartenders. I mean, they got to do what they got to do. But, you can make a dirty martini, then you can make an espresso martini. It's just a name.
Yeah.
Just a name.
That's a good idea.
Anyway, we're having fun with that.
Nice.
I don't really know what's next, but
sounds like a lot next.
I was going to say, how do you manage it all?
Yeah. Right? Good people.
Now I know where the question
Episode
came from.
2. Yeah, exactly.
Good people. I've been honored with being able to work with people, and the interview process is probably the most important thing in anyone's business. You get to know people as fast as you can, and you have to believe what they say, but finding out how to get it proven before you train them, that's the ticket. That's the big ticket. Anyways, we've been literally blessed with amazing humans in our businesses, and I can't say enough. That's why I can do a lot of things, just because of the people we pick.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I one thing I've learned is like I'm not just hiring a person. I'm hiring a revenue generator. I'm somebody that can multitask, learn, figure things out, and love doing it. Enthusiasm. Yeah. Like, fuel it up. Put all the afterburners on, bro. Let's go.
It's hard to find.
It is. It's impossible, actually. And it's not a trained taste either. You can't train people to click up. And we've lived in this lazy economy, I shouldn't say the economy. I'm saying culture of it's okay to be, it's a vibe, right? Gen Z learned how to do things with their thumbs. It's amazing. these are the smartest kids I've ever met in my life. Yeah.
I was having a conversation with a buddy the other day, and they brought up, we're talking about AI and robotics and all this stuff, and they were talking about how, you got guys like Elon Musk and stuff coming out telling people, like, don't worry about your retirement. Like this is going to evolve into like a society where you only work if you want to work.
Yeah. Yeah,
like basically, like, the underlying fabric of food, shelter, all that, they might not be glamorous, but like, if you don't want to work, it'll kind of be like, I don't know, hate to say like glorified socialism or a stipend or something from the government, but it's like, hey, we don't need you to do anything. You can kind of just chill over here if you don't want to.
It could go that way.
It could, yeah.
Easy.
And they were saying that, but then like work would almost be like a choice, right?
Yeah.
Like you'll kind of decide like, hey man, like I want to work or do something. And in this evolution of this conversation I had with my buddy, which was like over an hour, I was like, God, is it weird that I'm kind of excited for that day? Only because for all the people, like half the problems that with people who are ambitious or driven or do whatever, it's like you're dealing with all these people that don't want to do shit. They don't want to do anything.
Yeah,
it's like, and then not in a bad way, it's like, but let them do that, right?
Yeah.
Like, what will it be like when it just goes, okay, like if you want to play over here, play over here. In my mind, get out of my way. Yeah. But also, if you want to play over here, it's like, playing with people that like want to play.
Yeah.
It's like we all show up and go, hey, this is going to be hard. It's going to be brutal. We're going to get punched in the mouth, but like, aren't you excited? And we're like, yes.
Yeah.
Instead of like dragging people over your shoulder all the time, like, hey, would you mind just like not coming in 20 minutes late today? Or like, so it was this weird conversation between him and me where it was like, I was like, I'm kind of excited if that actually happens.
Because you have opportunity.
Well, and in like an optimistic way, like then everybody gets what they want, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, hey man, if you don't want to stress and you want to just kind of do your thing and chill, like you can totally do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we don't have this, this battle royale between like the, just the different personalities and behaviors where like a lot of people are getting drugged around doing, lamentingly having to do what they don't want to do.
And for lack of better words, you can't force a horse to water. Yeah. And the horse has to want to do what it's got to do. And the natural instincts of the human being, I don't think anything's dumbed down. I think it's like we've all been saying this whole time. It's the platform that we had at our fingertips, the tools you have in your belt. Like if someone wants to be lazy, they will find a way to get out of work early.
Oh,
absolutely.
They'll be one of the hardest workers you have. They just work at not working, right?
Yes.
Or looking busy, finding a way to not. It's like, trust me. I was just having a conversation with my wife the other day about that, and she was just like, so and so. She's in the medical community, but she's like, I've never seen anybody work so hard at not working.
Right? Well, it does take effort to not work.
Oh yeah,
you still have.
And they're clever,
they're creative, and there's all the tools to do it.
How do I get out and not seeing these patients today?
And the hard part is that there was an interview I listened to, and they go, the struggle with it is now that same guy can do what took 8 hours in 2 hours, and is super excited about all the free time, and then they're like, but that's why they get fired. Because eventually the employer's like, why do we even need the guy for 2 hours? Let's shrink all that down. And so literally, like, this guy was bragging about, hey, I was able to do it. And the other commenter is like, you realize that means you're not needed in the system anymore. And so then it was right after the Oracle, like, whatever it was, 30,000 people layoff. And they're like, and then so the hard part is now they're taking one Doyle, who is the go-getter, firing 3 people, giving you a few more tools, and then you're hitting the productivity level.
No, it's interesting. Yeah,
well, and very specific to software and SaaS systems, but that's what the interesting one where I'm like, man, as we become more and more efficient at this, and then now as an employer, I'm looking at the same thing. I'm like,
sure,
wait, we can hit the same number with half the people,
and you should.
And I guess it just is a mentality or mindset of like, but that would be like a dream come true for me if I wasn't needed anymore in a certain business, right?
Yeah,
like if someone tapped me and they're like, hey, we don't need you anymore, I'd be like, sweet, now I can go do something else, right?
Totally.
Like that would be my mindset. It wouldn't be like, oh, what am I going to do now? I'm in the unemployment line. I'm not needed anymore. It's like, what a gift, right? What a gift. You guys don't need me? Sweet.
And I think that's the downfall of humanity is when we're given that time back, what do you do with it? Like for me, I've got so many feathers that I want to go and start chasing to see what the dream could be. And to get at bats, you need to figure out how to be efficient. And if you can find efficient people to create efficiencies, it becomes a revolving whirlwind of time back, which is huge. Like that is, but for I'm getting older. I'm 50 now. And it's like, if I could get 5 extra hours in my day, I'd go spend 3 of it with my wife at home doing nothing, just having fun with her. You know what I mean? But still, I've got enough energy. I could go to another 20 years and keep building.
Yeah.
And to me, that's exciting, but that's not for the rest of my family. No. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm talking outside of both sides of my mouth here, kind of, because that's.
But it's also the personality type, right? You enjoy that. If you could golf every day, you're not going to love golf.
No.
Right. And I think it's the fact you can run like this, then that break means something.
Yeah.
But I think that's also why you have a rise in mental health issues and all the things, because I think we're supposed to be doing something, not necessarily grinding to work and working a field or something, but having something you're pushing or chasing towards. It'll be interesting to see how that happens, because you can easily see how every business eventually can get that efficient. And wait till you throw in a robot that can do it too.
I don't know that you're supposed to be, but I think that it's healthy too. Or it's
like remember your 2-week hiatus that was supposed to be 90 days or 9 months?
It was like a 90-day hiatus. It was supposed to be a lifetime.
There you go.
Okay.
But you're built in a way to do it. And I can't tell if we're built that way, because I know my parents worked that hard. And then my daughter looking at me work, she doesn't know what I do.
Right.
Well, yeah, but
because mine doesn't look. My dad's looked like hard work.
But she knows you're working, right? She knows you're up early, you're up late, you're out, you're talking, you're moving. Like I think for me, it's like that. We talked about this a couple podcasts ago, like that myth of Sisyphus, right? Like rolling the boulder up the hill type of thing. But it doesn't matter what the boulder is. It doesn't matter how big the hill is. What matters is like that is how I think we as human beings derive back purpose or derive back meaning or derive back self-worth. And so I think a lot of times when you look out into the world and you see the level of depression, anxiety, all of these kind of mental health issues that seem, it's because of that, right? Like if you pull everybody's work away from them, as great as that might sound, they will start to have like self-worth issues.
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything. I'm not producing my own food. I'm not producing it's like how would you derive confidence or self-worth or energy when you are literally not doing anything?
Yeah.
So it's kind of that
effort produces hardship produces strength produces effort. So it's kind of like, you always have this world, like the more you do, the more times you're going to fail. But out of failure you create wins. And
confidence.
Yeah, yeah, sure, absolutely. There's all kinds of generous things that come out of failure.
And when you meet
humble pie, will change your life.
Yeah, it's very rare when you meet somebody who's good at anything, whether it's dent repair, who hasn't fixed 1 million dents. That's how you get.
We just
good.
read about that.
How did you get so good? It's like I did it a lot, right? So for me, that failure, and so a lot of people ask you, how do you hold it all together? How do you do it, or how do you manage it? And I think when you look at successful people, and a lot of people are asking that question, it's because they see maybe the grace or the ease that you do it with, but typically that came from like a hard fought or learned lesson that came from failure, but there's this kind of like disconnect for people's mind to be like, the way you get really good at something is to do it very bad for a really long time or to fail at it a lot,
Yeah.
But you're typically talking to a person who's in failure mode, right? Failing daily or a lot daily, lacks self-confidence, does, questions everything, isn't, and they're saying, well, how do I get confident? How do I get good? And it's like, you're on the right path. Yeah. You're going to be here a while, right?
One thing I learned, like when I got on the other side of alcohol abuse, so like no one knew about it. I was functioning. It was fine. I don't even think I was an alcoholic, to be honest. Like I just accepted that I had an issue that was affecting my family. This needed to stop. Yeah. And with the grace of my wife, she was able to, we worked through it. And it's like, there was no betrayal or anything like that. But the point, I'm making it sound like it was super easy to get away from what I was dealing with. But the bottom line is on the other side of that embarrassment, that failure, that whatever you want to call it, the darkness of that thing is like, I did that. I got over that. And it's almost like fuel for the next problem, if you will. Like, okay, that was the lowest of the low for me. That was so bad. It was so bad. And I didn't know it until I was stuck, right? Tolerance becomes acceptance. So when you get to this point where you're accepting this thing to make you feel better, and then you find out that thing is actually making you the worst person you could ever be, and then you get over that thing and you are better, oh man, it's like your whole world opens up.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here today if I didn't have that struggle.
Yeah.
And that's what's weird is like you get shamed for those things. And I'm free and open to talk about it all the time because there could be someone that I'm around that's really struggling without knowing who I was.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they're going through. And it's like, if I'm open and they can ask questions, whatever, So, but getting on the other side of failure is there's some massive energy that's waiting. And so now I'm kind of addicted to like, okay, what could I screw up today? Maybe, no, I'm kidding. But seriously, like I never knew I was going to get broke in over the weekend. Yeah. And now there was new problems and I had to figure out, well, why did that happen? It was all because I made mistakes that allowed that to happen. Mm-hmm. Now we've got those fixed, like now no one's going to rip me off like that again, ever.
Yeah. And it takes going through that. And all of a sudden they're like, why do you have this system in there? And you're like, well, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Got broken into 4 times.
Let me tell you a story.
That's why all the good stories come out of.
Didn't end well for me.
Yeah. And it's hard when you're in it. I was related to that because you don't know when it ends. Like you don't know if it's year 1, 2, 3, or 4. We were talking. Who were we talking? Was it Greg? Was on here when he was saying how a lot of the car dealers folded before they got in or before they got through the recession because they didn't know, was it a year? Was it 2 years? Did you hang on just enough and it was 6 months later and recovered? And I think that's sometimes a difficulty when you're that low is you can't see enough.
Yeah. And
you just have to believe that what you're doing and changing and daily habits can get you there. But it's super hard.
Like I'm not a numbers guy. I hate numbers. I hate it. I'm not a books person. I'm not a school person. But boy, did I figure out how to deal with them. Yeah. Like you do figure it out one way or another. You have to accept if you're in business, numbers matter, and you can't skirt it. You can't get away from it. They matter so much. It's the heartbeat of your business. The DNA comes from your people, but the numbers matter. So what I'm getting at here is like with the whole situation in Spokane, we had the worst year ever open at First Ave last year, like lowest sales ever. Well, you can only have so little of a staff. Like at some point you can't be open without people. Yeah. So now I'm investing in my people, right? And that changed everything for me. It's like, if I'm going to keep a staff on, it's going to cost me personally to keep the business open. When does that end? It's like you were saying, how long is it going to be? So then I go to city council, start having a voice. Like I wasn't panicked. It was like, well, it doesn't have to be like this. Yeah. Like we could all agree it could be so much better. So we get there anyway. On the other side of this now, it's like, oh, we learned how to scrap in the business just like I did in life. Yeah. So if we can live minimal and have a wonderful life, then how come I'm not worried so just like grinding on those numbers? I should just be absolutely on a shred of paranoia that we're going to tank tomorrow. And then when we're busy, we know how to run a business really tight. Yeah. And I know I'm speaking things that I've learned that most culinary professionals already know, but the margins in culinary in the restaurant industry are tight. Terrible. You get to coffee, it's like there isn't a margin. I'm sorry to say, it's brutal. You're doing it because you're building community. You're growing with people, and that will come back. It just takes time.
I think the hard part with that is that the only people that know that are the people in coffee. Yeah, really, not the only. Business owners know it, but even what's funny is like, so you're in business, Jordan's in business, I'm in business. We all sit around, but we all tell completely different stories that are the same story.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I never paid attention to this until this happened, and now I pay attention to this because I realize how important it is. And then, like you have the same stories or the lessons, I guess you'd call them, from different stories. And yet going forward, I think you kind of like, well, everybody knows this, right? We always premise like, well, everybody kind of knows it. You're like, no, because if everybody knew that, we all wouldn't have the exact same story about this lesson that we had to learn in business to learn that story. So it's like, I find myself getting the most angst sometimes when I'm learning the same lesson again. Yeah.
That's a frustration one.
You're like, oh, I know better than this. Right?
Opening wounds.
Yeah.
Well, like a numbers guy will never get into coffee. Yeah. No way. Creative people get into coffee. You get a numbers guy would not look at books in a coffee shop and be like, gonna go there. That's gonna win.
Right.
Number one, you can't treat people like a number. And that's what you're doing. Coffee is about people 100% of the time. So when I was saying at the beginning, my business is feathered together. Like I look at the coffee business as an extension of my marketing company. Yeah. And I look at my marketing company as an extension of my coffee business. They do all work hand in hand. We do a lot of creative things in the shop that I would have never had access to in 4 walls of an office. Yeah. And there's a lot of people I interact with there that are creative. You learn things. And they want to come play in our shop, and we get to build a rapport together. Yeah. and learn things from each other. It's
Right.
super fascinating how it all works. But at the end of the day, it serves a purpose, and I get to employ people through that, and they get to learn how to serve. And so we're like, I just making it sound like huckleberries and lemonade. It is not this. I'm just jazzed up because we're having a good conversation.
Yeah.
But with every good thing, there's always bad things. But anyway, I'm rambling.
No,
I just love what I do.
That's it. I think every business owner would resonate with that one. I kept thinking through this part, I'm like, no, I'll get the problem solved. Like I can solve these. And then I realized, I think no matter what, you're just going to have 10% of problems. Like,
That's it.
Even if I got through all of them, something's going to come up in one of these. And that's what you're being trained for. It's not how to technically solve a problem. It's how to train your mind to be solution oriented.
Yeah.
Like I had somebody come to me and they were worried about something. I said, well, do you have a solution? And they're like, no. And I said, well, then what are you worrying about? Like,
Nice.
what are you worrying
There's
about?
no problem.
If you have no chance to fix or no solution, like what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like spend your time on the solution then you can worry because you're not sure if it works. But right now you're like, hey, I need $1,000 tomorrow. Okay, are you doing anything to do that? No, I'm just so worried I won't have it.
Exactly.
Well, you're not doing anything, so what are you worried
Right.
about? Like just settle into it and figure out the consequence, I guess.
I literally touch base with everybody at the shop every day. They're my
wow.
people. They are serving our customers. Our customers are our boss. I am not their boss.
Yeah.
My customers are our boss. We're all on the same team. We all want the same outcome. Happy people. It's embarrassing when your coffee is in your name and you turn out a dirty cup of coffee. Like,
that's tough.
dude, that's brutal. That's like a stain on your business. It's gross. We don't like it, but it can't be perfect.
Yeah.
So anyways, all I'm saying is like, I tell them like weekly, I remind them, if you have a problem, come talk to me about it. Cause we got something we can fix. We can actually work on it. Like if you have a question, I'm not questioning you. You're bringing up something valid in our business. You've got experience I've never had.
Yeah.
And as a team, they've constantly been working like, oh yeah, I worked at so-and-so and they have these ideas. And then it all comes back to me and it's like, why didn't I ever think of that? Yeah. So I'm just saying like, smart people are all around us. Just have to empower them to get their creativity going and bubble it up a little bit, and like problems aren't bad.
Yeah.
Like what isn't there like there's a sport where they call it problems. It seems like it's like trials riding or something. They're hitting that problem or something like that. Anyway, it doesn't matter, but it's in rock climbing. They scale problems. Oh yeah. I think it's bouldering.
Bouldering.
Yeah. It's like a something problem. That's how good I am at bouldering. I don't even know the lingo.
At least you got the bouldering.
One of my first mentors used to say, you will get paid or compensated in proportion of the problems that you can solve.
There you go.
And that always stuck with
true.
me.
That's
He's
true,
like,
though.
you want to make big money? He's like, learn how to solve big problems.
Mark
He's
Cuban.
like, you want to make small money? Just keep focusing on small problems.
The only thing I can remember Mark Cuban on the internet quoting, someone asked him, well, I don't know what to do in school. What should I do? He said, go get a basic engineering degree. You'll be the best problem solver in your business.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I never thought of that.
Oh,
I get asked that all the time. Like, well, my kid's struggling with what to do in college. What should I do? Well, get an engineering degree. I'll hire him.
Or
We need problem solvers.
teach him to be a mechanic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about this earlier, but you said you used to go around and play in your dad's shop. Did your dad have a cool shop?
He did.
Yeah.
We had this kind of thing my grandpa had built in the backyard when we moved into the space, and he just turned it around. Had a wood stove in there. We had wood like you wouldn't believe. My grandpa was a scrapper. He used to go he built his whole house off of lumber scraps. And the best thing ever, when my grandma passed away, they sold the house for $400,000, and he didn't have money in it. He
Completely permitted, by the way.
Exactly.
Well, we're talking
No address disclosed.
Yeah.
I can give you the address, but it was the first place in the Spokane Valley for miles. Like this was in the 30s. It was pioneering. And well, anyway, we had a cool shop. My dad had really cool tools all the time. He never spared on tools to get things done. But we built furniture together. I like my art. I called functional art. It had to have a purpose. I like to make things do things. That serve a purpose. Later in life, he got into intarsia, doing shaping wood with wood grains, so it made feathers and things. Beautiful work. It was really cool. He has Parkinson's now.
Hey, can you guys ever seen that art where they take a picture of something from the front and it looks like a big peacock bird, but then they like go pan around it and it's just a bunch of garbage and junk like patched together?
Yeah,
it's the coolest art. It's the coolest.
Yeah, that is so cool. It's like 3D art, but like
it's fantastic.
They just pan the camera around. I'm always like, oh, I don't know what that's called. I was wondering if you know what the name of it was.
Yeah, we built some crazy stuff. My dad built me me and my dad built a bike trailer so I could pull a lawnmower to get lawn mowing jobs on my bike, and had a gas can holder.
Legit bike trailer.
I thought it was four bikes. Yeah,
that's cool. He made it out of an old wheelchair. From the
Those are the days I miss. Those are the skills I think people still need, but they lack. Is like that. Again, dude. I grew up on a farm, but just like I think back now about the luck that I had to be able to have those things, right? Because not only do we have a shop and tools, my dad a lot of times was working, he wasn't around, but it was, I don't mean to say it like that, he was around, but I'm saying like, when I was up in the shop screwing around, he wasn't there. That's a better way to say that. But we also had like piles of junk laying around. Like there'd be like an old lawnmower that hadn't run in 2 years, or there'd be like some bicycle chain or something. So you could kind of have this creative license. And I think, man,
so cool.
I need to create that for my kids. I want to create that because I'm like, they don't have, Dad doesn't have a 40 by 60 shop with like combine headers laying around that you can tear apart. And I'm like, maybe they need that. They do need that.
Dude, one of my favorite things that when I learned how to weld, that changed my life. I could make anything if I wanted, and it's like just knowing I could do that, it's empowering. If in my happy place, I'd have a welder, pile of steel, and then on the other half of the shop, all the wood tools and piles of wood and just make stuff.
Yeah.
That's just, it's so satisfying.
Well, we could do this all day.
Let's go. Another day, another dollar.
Yeah, Doyle, thank you so much for joining us, man. Love
Thanks
to have you back sometime.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's been great getting to know you.
Thank you.
So, all right, you guys, thanks for listening to today's episode. While you're out there, would you please do us a favor and give us a like, subscribe, or a follow, whether you listen on Spotify, iTunes, or YouTube. We'd really appreciate it. Also, if you don't mind while you're there, give us a 5-star review. Maybe write a review. If you have a favorite episode, feel free to give it a like. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate it.